Some endings don't end. They linger in your body, in your thoughts, in the questions you keep replaying at 2 a.m. You tell yourself you're over it, that you've moved on, but your mind keeps returning to the same question. What actually happened? And why does your mind refuse to let it go? The reason is simpler and deeper than most people realize. When a relationship ends without explanation, your brain doesn't register closure. It registers interruption. And an interrupted emotional bond is something your nervous system will keep trying to resolve. You tell yourself to move on. You try to accept it, but your mind keeps returning to the same questions. What happened? When did it change? Did they ever really care? Was it something about me? And even if you never say these questions out loud, your nervous system is still asking them. It's not because you're dramatic. It's because you want stability. Because closure isn't just emotional, it's biological. And if you've ever stayed up at night replaying a relationship in your head, trying to understand what happened, you're not alone. And I'm curious, have you ever experienced that? Welcome to my channel, Diary of a Shadow Healer. I'm Starshade, and this is the place where your shadows find their voice. And I hope you stay until the end. I'm going to show you a cord-cutting ritual using candle magic that can help release attachments that never received closure. All right, let's begin. When you form a bond with someone, your brain starts predicting them. It learns their pattern, their voice, their attention, their emotional availability. Your nervous system factors their existence into its sense of safety. And when that bond disappears without explanation, your brain keeps waiting for the missing piece. Because you never finish the story. The void keeps the system searching. This is why you replay conversations you've already replayed 100 times. Why memories surface when you didn't invite them. Why part of you still feels unfinished. This isn't you being weak. This is your nervous system trying to complete a cycle it was never allowed to finish. Shadow work reveals something even deeper. The pain isn't always just about losing them. It's about losing the version of yourself that existed when they were there. Who you were when you felt chosen, seen, stabilized. And when they leave without closure, that version of you has nowhere to anchor. So the mind searches, not because you're obsessive, but because you're trying to restore structure. You're trying to understand where that version of you went, trying to understand where you went. But here's the part most people don't realize. Closure doesn't come from explanation. It comes from recognition. Recognition of what their actions have already revealed and accepting it. Someone who wanted to stay wouldn't leave you in permanent uncertainty. I know that the silence feels empty, but it isn't. Their silence is information. And this is where the shadow resists, because accepting that truth means stepping out of purgatory, that in-between space that feels safe because there's no final ending. Waiting keeps the connection psychologically alive, but it also postpones the return to yourself. And this is where most people make a mistake that keeps them stuck for years. Closure is over-romanticized and often misunderstood. We treat closure like something someone gives us, but real closure, that comes from acceptance, not answers. One of the problems is that closure fantasy you make up in your head, because that fantasy is rarely what they end up telling you or doing anyways. For example, people normally want an apology, accountability. The reality is, more often you'll get defensiveness, silence, or half-truths. And sometimes going back for closure, it doesn't heal the wound, it reopens it. Sometimes we tell ourselves, I just need to hear them say it. I just need them to admit it. But if their actions already told you the truth, what is their confirmation actually going to change? If your peace depends on someone else saying what you want to hear, not what you need to hear, you've handed them the authority over your healing, and that is not power you want to give away. One of the biggest shadows I had to confront growing up was my fear of abandonment. And when you have a shadow rooted in abandonment, lack of closure doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels destabilizing. Because when closure is missing, the nervous system doesn't register a clean ending. It registers uncertainty. And uncertainty to the brain feels like potential danger. So when someone disappears without explanation, your body doesn't go, oh well. It goes into survival mode. My abandonment wound started with my mom. The first time I remember feeling it, I was about 5 years old. I fell asleep at a friend's house. When I woke up, it was dark, and my mom was gone. She had decided not to wake me, and the other mom was fine with me staying overnight. Now, logically, that's harmless. But a 5-year-old's nervous system, it doesn't understand logistics. It understands absence. Now, the second time was when I was around 12 or 13. My mom was struggling and needed to leave to get help. But she didn't sit me down and explain that. She told me she was going grocery shopping, and she didn't come back. I had to hear the truth from my dad. Now, from her perspective, she knew I was safe. She knew she needed help in order to be a better parent. However, from my perspective, I felt angry, hurt, left. For years, I operated from the wounded child's interpretation of those events. Every time a man left without explanation, every time I didn't get closure, it wasn't just about him. It was my nervous system reliving being 5, being 12. So I kept choosing emotionally unavailable men who avoided hard conversations, men who disappeared. And every time they left things unresolved, my brain asked, did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? Are they coming back? When you have abandonment wounds, closure doesn't give you clarity. It feels like you're getting proof that you mattered. And when you don't get it, your mind keeps the bond alive, because ambiguity prolongs attachment. There's no clean ending, so your nervous system keeps scanning for one. And because I never emotionally closed the door, I kept reopening it when they came back. That was my pattern. So, how did I integrate this shadow? First, I stopped viewing my childhood only through the eyes of the hurt child, and I started looking at it through the lens of the adult I am now, especially now that I'm a mom. I allowed space for my mom to be human, to have her own internal struggles, to need help. Because as a parent, if you aren't okay, your child can't be taken care of properly. Now, that didn't erase the impact, but it changed the meaning I assigned to it, and meaning is everything. Second, I built self-worth that wasn't dependent on someone else choosing me. I stopped looking at words and started looking at actions. I stopped interpreting someone's exit as proof of my inadequacy, and I learned how to create my own closure. Because real integration, it isn't about getting the apology. It's about no longer needing it to feel whole. Now, when something ends without explanation, my nervous system doesn't spiral the way it used to. I don't interpret uncertainty as danger. I see it as information. And that's the difference between living inside a shadow and integrating it. At some point, you have to make a decision. You can stop engaging with the story, stop replaying it, and move forward, even without understanding everything. Because external closure doesn't always resolve the internal wound. Many people receive explanations and still feel unrest, still feel activated. And that's because the deeper layer isn't just about being abandoned, it's self-abandonment. There were times when I had the explanation and it still didn't satisfy me. That's when I had to ask a harder question. Was I actually grieving them? Or was I grieving the ways I abandoned myself trying to keep them? Because self-abandonment runs deeper than being abandoned. It looks like ignoring the red flags, accepting breadcrumbs, staying silent when something didn't feel right, overgiving so someone wouldn't leave. So even if they said, it wasn't you, or I'm just not ready, my nervous system wasn't really asking, why did they leave? It was asking, why did I tolerate that? That's why explanations don't always bring peace. An explanation satisfies logic, but self-abandonment wounds live in the body, and no external closure can repair the moment you overrode your own intuition. What healed me wasn't understanding them. It was rebuilding trust with myself. I stopped ignoring the red flags, stopped overgiving, and stopped staying silent when something felt wrong. That's integration. Humans naturally seek patterns and endings. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished emotional situations stay more active in the mind than completed ones. So, of course, your mind keeps replaying it. But healing begins in a quieter moment. The moment you stop asking them to close the door and you close it yourself. Not by pretending it didn't matter. Not by forcing yourself not to care, but by recognizing that your nervous system can find safety without their explanation. Closure is not always something you receive. Sometimes it's the moment you stop waiting for someone else to tell you that it's over and finally allow yourself to be the one who stays. And that is closure. Thank you for watching. And I have a surprise for everybody. Japan! You have to say it, buddy. Subscribe. Thank you so much for staying until the end. That means the world to me. So, a little candle magic, anybody? Closure's a hard one, okay? Especially when your mind is on the person constantly, all the time. I think that when it comes to any kind of ritual that you do, any kind of magic that you do, have the intent behind it. Really mean it. Some people are going to tell you that you have to use a certain brand, a certain color, a certain this, a certain that, all these different things. In my opinion, it's all about intent. So, twine is from the Dollar Tree. Candles are from Amazon. And even the candle holders, Dollar Tree. The little tin foil, Food Lion. So, we're going to light this together. My intent is going to be to cut a cord with somebody who has been on my mind lately that I don't want on my mind anymore. Now, some people, they use the pink Himalayan salt, a bowl. They tell you that if the wax drips this way, it means that, so on and so forth. And I'm sure that if I studied it deep enough, I could find all that knowledge and have it for you. That is not the intent that we're putting towards this today, whenever you're watching this. Today, the intent is to break a cord to someone who no longer serves me and I no longer want to be connected to. And that is what we're doing here. So, let's begin. So this one seemed a little mad. This relationship did not end well. He was not a good person. So I found it interesting the way that it burned. And no, I don't I've dabbled in it, but I haven't done heavy research and reading up on my candle magic in a while. But the feeling I got when I did it was that he was not happy with this. So I found it really interesting the way it burned. And I was sitting here literally next to the table the whole time. So the cats, because I know you saw their tails, and I'm just like, really? I don't need a crispy kitty. Anyways, I hope that you try this. And if you do, can you please tell me about it? Tell me what you felt. Tell me what happened, and even take pictures. I don't care. I want to know all about it. I find it so interesting. I find it so neat. I hope you have a really good time getting the closure that you want. All right. Until next time. And please don't forget to subscribe. Sorry. One more thing. When I was cleaning up, I just had this urge to open the door and let all the negativity from the past out, and light a white candle for new beginnings, a pink candle for self-love after you're done with the candles burning out, just to invite something positive back into yourself, into your life, after you've done a ritual like this. All right? Promise. Last thing.